Okay, Gavaldik. So, Be'ez Hashem, continuing over here, Torah non Daled. So, first of all, the Surah Toiva. I'd like to thank Danny. Baruch Hashem, Klal Yisrael is privileged to have a special year like Rabbi Kalish, Shiva of Waterbury. And, they wanted to come to Netzach. And, it's been a few months, and Be'ez Hashem, we're going to have the privilege to have Rabbi Kalish on September 16th. So, Shkoyach Danny. Okay, so we're holding over here in Torah Nun Dalet over here. It could be we started it last year, but we'll start it again. The Nachman was discussing a concept that there's Kedusha of the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's called Raglei Kedusha, Adergis HaRiglan, the level of the feet of the Kedusha, which means to say, we explained that there's Kedusha that's revealed in a very revealed way, right? Just like in a person, your feelings and your main source of life, the higher up you go, it is that way, right? Your head is so important. It's not about important because feet could also be, most important. But as being a limb or a part of your body that carries the most life in it, the head, and then going down, the heart, the hands, the feet have the least. They have the least feeling, and so on and so forth. In Kedusha, that's just a mashal for the Kedusha. In Kedusha, we have the most revealed Kedusha. It's called the head of Kedusha. That's called the Keser. Then we go down, we go to the heart as the Bina. We have the Chachmas within the head as well. We go down the right hand is the Chesed, the left hand is the Gvura. Then we go down to the feet, that's called the Netach V'Hoid, the Midas of Netach V'Hoid. And in this world, since it's a place of hiddenness, right, of Hester, so in this world is only revealed in a very direct way. It could always be Meir, could always shine the higher levels of Kedusha, but it's all shining through the lower level of Netach V'Hoid. So only the lower level of Kedusha is like literally Slavish. It gets literally garmented in this world. The other levels are like above this world and shine into this world. We explained that we're not gonna go back to it now. Let's focus on the continuation. Reb Nachman explained that based on this concept that there is the Kedusha of the Netzach V'Hoid, there's Kedusha of the Rebbeinu Shalom in this world. Reb Nachman explained that the Rebbeinu Shalom is revealing himself continuously to every Yidani. Yeah? To every year, the Rebbeinu Shalom is giving him hints in Avodas Hashem because the presence of the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? How the Rebbeinu Shalom is revealing himself in this world in a direct way through his revealing of the Midas, which we're focusing now on the Midah of Netzach V'Hoid. The Rebbeinu Shalom, right, is revealing himself to every Yid and is giving your Muslim, is giving hints to Yid, everything that's happening in his day, and Machshava and Dibur and Amaisa, right, is all a Muslim from the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Rebbeinu Shalom is talking to him, and
I feel like I can't decipher the hints. I feel like every time something happens, I think it can mean like 9 different things.
Oh, very good. So we addressed this last week. What it means. So Reb Nachman himself said that a person has to be careful. He said, let me just find you the Lashon. Right. He said, "Hagdolos haseichel b'zeh tzorich lias b'midah," meaning to say it has to be with a certain limitation. First of all, it can't go out of Gvul Kedusha, right? Can you imagine a person to say, "I understand the Ariyamas from Shem that I should really be looking at something." This because I feel that that's unfortunately there are people that suffer from such type of yeah, and it's like the person really thinks so. So you have to know the first thing is understand that delving into it to understand the realms of the Baruch, it can't be going out of the borderline of Kedusha. There's a borderline of Kedusha. What's the borderline of Kedusha? The Torah, right?
It is like Baruch and stuff.
Alan Tachlis, right? Yeah. Exactly. The Rebbeinu Shalom Tamtzum, his subtracts his godliness into this world, into Machshava Dibur Mas. Oh, Shalom Eitam. You
scarred?
I am scarred.
You Gutman? Yeah. How you doing, man? Hello.
Okay, everybody meets back up in the stable. Let's go.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
What was that gross rate?
When was that growth start? I don't know. Probably like 11th, 12th grade. I was a late bloomer.
How old are you now?
26.
No. I haven't seen. It's been like 10 years.
I just saw your mother though.
Yeah, you just said that?
Yeah.
Nice. You go with your parents or by yourself?
I went by myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. Very good to see you.
Eitan brings back some Kiddush that to show.
Oh yeah.
So right. So that's one point. Yeah, answering your question, Danny.
Yeah.
Another point is that Yaakov is seicha anushi shaloi, meaning to say the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't expect you to understand the Muslim only based on your seichel. Okay, which means to say that I'll give you an example where everybody could relate. Right, if a person sees that when I do a certain thing, right, then there's not good outcomes of it, right? If it's a mitzvah, then you say it's a mitzvah and it's an assign, right? But something that is questionable, right? And you see that there doesn't come out good things of it, right? So now you got a remes from the Rebbeinu Shalom that this is not the right thing, right? Or if you see that when you do this thing, it comes out fantastic things. Obviously, once again, there's not questionable halacha. If it's questionable halacha, ask her off. There's no, oh, I see it's working out. I see it's working out. That doesn't mean anything. All the Gemara Avodah Zarah about this. Person serving Avodah Zarah, these fantastic things happening. It's an assign from the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? So I think that puts things a little in perspective. Obviously, there are details and differences. So now Reb Nachman's continuing. Reb Nachman's going to continue with that a person's going to say, you know something, and this is something that we could all work on, even though it's it doesn't sound like we'd mamish think like that. A person would say, there's a saying today, which is a beautiful saying if it's used in the right way. I'm high in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just gefalt. I'm just living with the awe, tapping into the love, right? It's gewaldic, right? I'm fine. Meaning to say, you tell me now, I gotta learn, I gotta put on film. It's good. It's good. I'm chilling with Hashem, right? So, and the person says, and I see Hashem. I see Hashem in everything. I'm living with Hashem. Right? Comes up Nachman, and Nachman says, no. You gotta remember, in order to be connected to Hashem, you can't, if you're just gonna live with finding Hashem in all the hints that Hashem gives us, right? How the Rebbeinu Shalom is mitzamtzum is like kustaka in our physical life, right? And so on, that's not enough. You got to be finding Hashem in the mitzvahs as well, right? In the mitzvahs as well. And Nachman's going to break it down into certain, central mitzvahs, that those are the essential mitzvahs of tapping into Kedusha, right? I always tell guys, and it's important to speak out. Yid has to know this, that there are certain things that, the essential, every mitzvah is most important, yeah? The person will say this mitzvah is more important than that mitzvah, right? On the one hand, you find that in Chazal. In the same time, I'm not going to go into the whole argument and the discussion of exactly how to understand. At the same time, there are certain mitzvahs that they are very fundamental in a yid's life, right? And a yid has to know that these mitzvahs, even if Chas V'Shalom is in a dark place, these mitzvahs you have to hold. They're most important. Then everything I'm saying is obviously not coming from my own understanding. I'm coming from Chazal. And again, when a person's in a situation, he has to talk to Rav, and not based off on what I'm saying now, but the idea. The idea is that Yid has to know Tfil, Shabbos, Bris Milah, which means Kedusha Sabres, and Kashrus. Those are things that as Hashem, a person has to know that these are very, very, very fundamental things. Very fundamental things. The Tefillin is called the Ois, Bris Milah is called the Ois, Shabbos is called the Ois. They're all things that are Ois. They're a sign in between us and Hashem. They're like the actual bond in between us and Hashem, right? It's like Chas v'Shalom, a woman, she messes up, she doesn't make good supper, she gets upset at her husband, whatever it is, right? Okay, but if she goes and she cheats on him, that's not Rashid, right? This is the Ois. This is the bond. This is the bond. Shabbos, Bris Milah, Tefillin. And then kashrus is as the Gemara tells us. Chazal tell us that kashrus is something, chas v'shalom, you're taking something not kosher, What's happening is your flesh and blood are becoming not kosher flesh and blood, and that stuffs up your neshama, chokes you. And it's unfortunate that a person put himself in that situation. So, and Nachman is going to focus on being on mitzvahs of being mamshech or in a very direct way of connecting ourselves very directly to the Baruch. There's a few essential mitzvahs. Okay, so let's see what the Nachman says. Even somebody that knows and understands this, he's on the level to understand, right? Not only surface level, on a very very deep and great level, he's zoicha. Yeah, very good. Page Samach Aleph. Here, right? Sheyideo maybe bezeh han shezoicha lahaven hayamazim shemeramas la Hashem yizbarach b'chol davar. He's zoicha to understand the Ramazim, right? The hints at the bunch and everything. The imkain, if so, yitzalasik bezeh. The person is gonna want to be oisik, only focus on these things. Hainu. I'll only do things of Olam Hazeh, not Isser Chas V'Shalom, right? But just things of Olam Hazeh. I understand all the Ramazim, the Rebbeinu Shem actually does give him Ramazim, right? So he'll say, I'll only do this, and I'm connected with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's Kabbalah. The truth is that it's not that way. Why? Histapkus means to say, Histapkus means the midah. And Pasha Pshat and the Musa Swan, it means to say stapkus means to say that salvation, to be happy with whatever it is, right? So Reb Nachman saying that when it comes to this avoid of understanding, there are Muslim of the Rebbeinu Shalom from in this world. So first will say I'll be only Isaac and Olam Hazeh. No, Nachman says don't forget when it comes to Olam Hazeh, there's a rule that you have to have salvation, meaning to say don't take more than you need from this world, which includes in that as well saying that don't only be Isaac in this avodah. Right? Only use Olam Hazeh as much as you need it, and understand the Ramazim from the Rebbeinu Shalom within that, and not more than that. Right? And he's going to explain it. To be satisfied, right? From this world, it's only what you need, right? This is for two reasons. Because this kedusha, I'm going to explain a very deep concept. We're saying, but what do you mean? To tap into kedusha from in the Olam Hazeh. Says Ibn Nachman, it's true. But this kedusha, hamlubeshus be'iska Olam Hazeh, that kedusha that is revealed in the doings of this world, the Gashmis world, who bechinas raglan, is the concept of kedusha of raglan, like we were explaining before, the netzach v'hoid, which is called the raglaim of kedusha. V'hi kedusha nemucha. That's a low level of kedusha. It's not the highest level of kedusha, right? There are higher levels of kedusha. Like we were saying, there's the keser, there's high levels which we're zoichet to through mitzvahs, right? It's only in Olam Hazeh the things we can only be zoichet to that kedusha. Now says the Nachman, a big yesod, which it says in the Arizal says this many times. V'hi kedusha nemucha. This is a lower kedusha, meaning to say. Bebchinas, this is a concept of that David HaMelech says, Avoin hakeva yisubeni. The sin of my ankle yisubeni will surround me. Meaning to say, what does that mean to say? Shehaklip is mesav noisotamim. That kedusha, that low kedusha of Netzach V'Hoid, that's kedusha. But the klippos hang out around that kedusha, around the kedusha that's revealed in the Gashmias, and that lower level of kedusha, which is Netzach V'Hoid, the aglaim, the kedusha, the klippos. They hang out over there.
For the guy who's living in like a Ruchnistic world, is basically most of his kedusha is coming from the Ruchnis, from the Gashmi.
Right.
I mean, just a guy who's like working, who's not learning in Torah. So it could be that he gets a lot of kedusha from he's Kaddish Hashem, he's being a Jew in public. So a lot of his kedusha is surrounded by klipos.
So Ibn Nachman over here is focusing on the kedusha that is revealed directly in the Gashmis. He's not focusing on the mitzvahs. There's a certain kedusha that's revealed in the Gashmis. You understand there are Muslim of the Rebbeinu Shalom within it. The Rebbeinu Shalom within the Gashmis itself, the Rebbeinu Shalom is giving you a remez of closeness to the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? So in that place, in that kedusha that is revealed directly in the Gashmis, Ibn Nachman saying it's kedusha, right? But the klipos hang around that kedusha. Why? Because they want to suck from that kedusha. This is a concept that we learned in Torah and involved. that where do the klippos get life from? Nothing has an existence without kedusha, right? Kedusha is the revealing of the Rabban Shalom in this world. Nothing can exist without the Rabban Shalom, right? So where does the life from the klippos come? You know where it comes from? It comes from the kedusha. That they try to suck kedusha, they try to suck out life, chayos, from the kedusha. That's what gives them their existence, right? Right, and there's many in the Arizal. There's many times. So be careful, don't do this because then you do that, you're giving too much light. You're opening up a door that the clips got too much kedusha now. Right? I'm sorry.
Like I said.
Well, oh, very
Someone
good.
sins, it's creating a klipa that could have, like the cough that could have been taken from people you're going to do. Well, why is it?
No, 1 second. I want to first understand what you were just saying.
Like you have something in front of you.
Right.
You can either do the right thing and get a mitzvah and create kedusha,
Right.
or the other way you can do a vera and then you're creating some other force. This
Right.
is the force.
Right. Exactly. And
it takes it.
And it takes it. Right. Right. Meaning to say, a yid is his mitzias is kedusha. He has a neshama. Right? A yid is a generator of kedusha. As a when a yid's doing an avera, yeah. So what he's doing is he's giving the clips now a place to be able to have life from kedusha, from the yid, right? And that's a terrible thing. You're building up the klipa. Right. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I'm sorry, you know.
What is the main thing that Malcolm talks about in order to combat that is Likutei, no?
Meaning
you're at a certain point you're gonna go one way or the other. You're starting to open up channels to go that way, and then you're looking to come back from that. But also, while you're doing it, you have decisions in front of you, whether it's clear or not clear. If you're doing something to simcha and you think it's the right thing to do, in your heart is the right thing to do, then doing it, feeling good about yourself with the simcha, maybe it ends up the wrong thing, but you have confidence in doing it. Is that the same thing?
So, point is as follows: that yid always has to keep track of understanding that we believe that what defines right or wrong, right? What defines right or wrong is the Torah, right? So, I think we get this mashgura. A person would say, "Get up Yom Kippur in the morning." There's actually an Oracham Kaddish. The Oracham Kaddish writes. The Oracham Kaddish talking about this. This idea. Oracham Kaddish writes that there was one time a yid. Yeah, it's halacha. A person is not able to sleep with their wife in Yom Kippur, right? So there was one time a year that he was an Amart, and he said, "Kafal, when could be?" There's an Indian. Everybody, even on marathon, you go to before you get married, they teach you this. There's an Indian. There's special times that it's an Indian to sleep with your wife because it's such a special time, like Shabbos and Yom Tov. So this guy said, "Wow, what could be a better time to sleep with your wife than Yom Kippur?" So Chaim brings it, right? So I'm going to say his intentions are good, his intentions are good, but he did a terrible avera, right? He was a shogeg, partially. Shigas Tam was Oil Zodin. I'm not getting involved in the Sugya. But 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 so on the one, but then there is certain situations where it's an unclear situation, right? It's an unclear situation, and the person does have to follow what does try to be sincere about things and see that really mean the Shem Shemaim. I really be looking for the truth, and then see what his heart tells him because he's in a situation that it's unclear. He can't ask. It's not whatever the circumstance is that it's not dependent on asking Garav or whatever it is, whatever the situation is. So then yes, then a person has to try their best and try to be sincere. And on that Chazal say, on such a case, we could say, well, Chazal say that Rahman Aliva, the Rebbe Shalom wants the heart of the person, right? Even though if we'll go talk to somebody afterwards and the person will tell him that, really you should have done differently. So I'll know for next time, right? But for now, I tried my best and, Rahman Aliva, right? Am I answering the question? Yeah. So it's gewaldig, yeah, and it's a tremendous avoider. The get opposite of right stacker that that there's the Rebbeinu Shalom, gives the power to a yid, that a yid has there's a Torah Likutei around like that in Torah Lamed Hey, gewaldig deep Torah. Machman says over there that the seichel of a yid is his neshama. We're talking about the real seichel, the real wisdom, the real right is his neshama, and there's a pasuk we spoke about this once. We may have spoken about this in Torah Numvav or a different time. B'nishma shakar tivinam, the godly neshama tivinam gives them deeper understanding, which means to say that a yid could tap into his neshama and through the light of his neshama to know what's true. But that doesn't mean to say that a person will say, "I'm not sure I'm allowed to do this." Let me meditate. Neshama tells you allowed to do it. Yeah, either take out a Shulchan Aruch if you're able to, if you're holding by it, you know how to clearly see something in Shulchan Aruch, pick up a phone and ask your help. Yeah, and there's no answer not to do that. But there is sometimes certain situations where yes, and it's very special by Hashem. It's very special by Hashem when a person finds himself in that situation and he has to tap into the Arv and Neshama and he's following Hashem that way. It's about Hashem. It's beautiful. It's just so holy. It's so special. So, okay. So Reb Nachman says that since it's this lower place of Kedusha, Klippas try to get life from it, so there's Klippas around in that place. It's a dangerous place. Meaning to say, to be in the Gashmis, even though there's to find Kedusha over there, we have to tap into the Kedusha, but it's a dangerous place, right? So therefore, you got to see not to be too much in a dangerous place, right? It's like a person would say, it's so gewaldig. It's so gewaldig. I'm just, taking it a little further. The idea what Nachman's teaching us over here. A person would say, it's gewaldig. It's so special to be Oymed ben Nisson. I just heard a shir. It's so special to be Oymed ben Nisson and Shmiras Anayim, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's such a Gemara. The Gemara says, "Nama Pescha Designis." Let's go over the door of the place of Zionus. So basically, where they're
Brothel.
What?
A brothel.
A brothel, it's called.
Yeah, prostitutes.
Prostitutes, yeah.
Brothel.
The house for the brothel. Yeah, it's called a brothel. I never heard that word. Yeah. So right, the whole Gemara about it. So the point is no, that the if there's even 1% chance to fall, it's also for you to do it. Yeah, that's what the Orchaim Kodesh Paskins. That's a whole Gemara back and forth over there. So the Orchaim Kodesh Paskins. He says if your mom is 100% tzaddik and you're 100% sure, so then there's an Indian on it.
Is that true with anything? Like if there's
even 1% chance
that I might be over Lashon, for example.
If what?
If we continue down this line of conversation, or if we just have to talk about this thing, or even this thing that's just between her and I, or her and I. Because it's Lashon can come like pretty fast. Conversation can go from being legit Lashma to.
So you know the story with the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim used to, he made a sefer on Hilchos Lashon Hara and so on. And the Chavetz Chaim would go to sell his sefer, and they saw the Chavetz Chaim. He would come to town and he'd just schmooze with the most simple using the wagon drivers. Ask the Chavetz Chaim what's going on. Chaim said, I wanted to show people that you could schmooze and without talking Lashon Hara. You could, and to the most simple person, you could schmooze without talking. Just be on top of yourself. Be on top of yourself. A person, it's a taiva. Whatever. A person usually self-conscious knows where's this going, and something, flip the conversation. And sometimes you just gotta say, no, let's stop while we're ahead. This is getting to this. If we're sincere about it, then it's usually shy. It's usually shy. And so a person would say, so the point is that you're not gonna put yourself in danger. You're not gonna put yourself in danger. So therefore, when it comes to Olam Haz, a person has to be satisfied only with what he needs. Right? Another reason why we can't just be in the Olam Haz and finding the Ramaz, finding the Kedusha over there, Machmas sheyesh avoid gevoyim mezud. There's a higher avoid. There's a deeper avoid. So kedusha gevoyim and there's much greater kedusha you can reach than just the kedusha that is revealed in the Gashmis. Right? Meaning to say the mitzvahs and so on. The Machmas is going to address. Right? There's so much more greater. Right? So it's like a person saying, like, I could work now a whole day, stick to this job, $40 an hour. It's good. Now you're full. But you another 5 hours of the day you could work and make $100 an hour. No, it's fine. You got some sugar, all right? You could work and make double the money, all right? So keep this job, but do this job as well, all right? But Mahmoud said there's much greater kedusha. Tzarich lav d'Hashem yizbarach v'ois na'avodas v'hakdusha ha'gavoyos mizeh. All right, we're gonna skip the parentheses. That's a Nisson. Nisson is he's just elaborating on what Reb Nachman said. We really spoke it all out now. V'hastapkus. Now it says Reb Nachman the histapkus, the being satisfied and not going into the Holy more than we need. That is the concept again. This whole Torah was on the pasuk Hashem Likutei Gadaltum Oid Hoid V'Hod L'Vash. So till now, Reb Nachman explained Hashem Likutei Gadaltum Oid Hoid V'Hod L'Vash. Now he's going to Oid Or Kasama.
Sorry, what's the problem here? This is like.
I'm waiting for that kasha. And the commentaries, there's many commentaries on Kutum now. They ask your kasha. If I remember correctly, the Perl is the Chachma asks your kasha. The Rabban Reb Nachman. Not a son of Reb Nachman, but Reb Nachman Tzachina. A son of Reb Nachman Tzachina. The Gevaldig Yosef, my favorite commentary on Kutum now. So, yeah.
What's the halacha to think that it would be shy to stay in Yushin Nechuma?
Namucha. Explain your question.
You could say, yeah, there are really people that would go to work and say, I'm only 57 every day. There's kedusha here, so this is the kedusha that I'm going to be involved in.
Right.
I don't need to go there. Yeah, but that's like no, really, you tapped in.
Right.
Majority of people who are tapped in understand that work is the kafel, and the ikar is learning. And
Right. Very good cash. And this is really what you're asking. I'll just elaborate on it a bit more. Say I don't understand. You want to tell me that I'm connecting to Hashem, right, through the Olam Hazeh. But if you could go learn and you don't learn, you just transgress the mitzvah in the Torah. The Allah and Shulchan Aruch, you have to learn Torah, right? So, or I'm not going to put on tefillin. What are you talking about? There's Allah in the Torah. You have to put on tefillin, right? So how could you say I'm getting the Muslim of Hashem closest to Hashem? But why would anybody think that way? You could get closest to Hashem in a situation of transgressing his mitzvahs. Makes no sense. What's the haba here? That's your kasha, right? What's going on over here? It's a very good kasha.
Wait, but the haba here is not that I'm going to get closer to by transgressing the mitzvahs. Kedusha and Mucha is not transgressing.
No, chas v'shalom, but a person saying only that.
Right.
So ultimately, he's transgressed.
No, I'm not saying that's what's the haba by. No, that's not. I was not clear enough to ask that question.
Okay.
It was stop. It's saying that if a person would say that I get my kedusha from kedusha nemucha, and that would be enough, a person who says that would be mistaken. Obviously, be mistaken. But Nelson's like clarifying, no, he shouldn't do that. Because
why is he obviously mistaken? Why?
Because obviously the ikar of our existence is being Megala Hashem, and
so I'm being Megala Hashem. I'm connected to kedusha within the Gashmi.
Because it's literally called kedusha nemucha.
So that's what Reb Nachman's explaining. He's telling you that that's kedusha nemucha, but there's higher kedusha you could be zocheh.
Obviously, a person has to know that coming close to Hashem through learning Torah is more ideal than running to be Omen Ben Yisrael. That's the question.
Not so clear to me.
Mamish?
Yeah. It's nowadays especially it's more of a midas chasidus to live that way. You grew up in Edison or Tyler Park.
Yeah.
Right?
People in Edison know that.
You went to JC. You grew up in Moharan Orthodox.
Yeah, I think that's I think people choose not to believe it, but there's an understanding initially.
Yeah, but they all say that's the idea. That's what Moharan Orthodoxy becomes. So it's just like
Yeah, like that's good for you.
I
I don't
respect
know.
what you do.
Right, but I don't think
I
people
connect to they do their thing. I'll connect to this thing. That's my thing.
Right. I think they still, as long as someone's doing that, they still understand that the ideal kedusha to tap into isn't a base medrash or with a rabbi. It's not to not look at your coworker.
Right. But there is a school of thought that says that, yeah, of course, to go to shul and learn with your rabbi, that's geschmack, yeah. But this is the real work, yeah. This is the real work. Be out there in the city. Let's see your rabbi get out there, yeah. So, my answer to that is not that I have to answer it, or not that whatever.
You never got that?
What?
You never got that?
Baruch Hashem, I never got it in that way. I got it in when a guy was just trying to say his pain, so.
They're really coming at you.
Right, he's not coming at me. He's just, just trying to pour his heart and hoping I'm understanding him. So, just putting aside that, but say, something? Fine. I'll go to Chas v'Shalom, but I mean to say, I'll go to the city for one day, and you come sit at the Gemara for 6 hours. Okay. What really does it just sounds like a silly question and answer, but there's depth to it, which means to say the Rebbeinu Shalom puts everybody in his avodah, and the Rebbeinu Shalom puts you in your avodah that you're able to overcome, and what's hard for you, and that's where the Rebbeinu Shalom puts you. Everybody has their avodah. Just know this, and it's true. He has his avodah, and I have my avodah, right? So,